Report out of the world of the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report in uniform. You see the kid. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/shop to support the movement. Actually get yourself some Black Fox News paraphernalia. You know, stuff with our logo on there, or from our Stop the KKK line, our Still Our Grind line. You know what I'm saying? You can find that in a link in the Black Fox News Instagram bio, or just type in the URL blackfoxnews.com/shop. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Let's get right to it, man. You have Joe Biden right now starting to take leads in these battleground states as mail-in ballots start to be counted, where he's like right now up by 900 votes in Georgia, 5,500 in Pennsylvania. His lead is expanding in Nevada. I mean, right now he has 264 electoral college votes. He only needs 270 to actually win. There's 264 to 214 right now, as you see in anytime you see like what the polls are saying. So we'll see how this turns out. You had Joe Biden actually speaking, saying that, you know what I mean, calling for every vote to be counted, whereas Trump, he actually even gave a speech Thursday morning, falsely declaring victory, saying that the Democrats are trying to steal the election. Like, here we have so much evidence. There's going to be a lot of litigation, but he didn't offer any evidence. You know what I mean? He just keeps saying like there's going to be, they have so much evidence, and they're going to go to the courts. Hopefully to the higher courts is what he's saying, but he's like, yeah, because we can't have an election stolen like this. But you know, it baseless claims. I mean, it was so bad that ABC, CBS, NBC, and MSNBC all stopped airing his speech live, just because it had so many lies about, you know, the election process and the vote counting process. So that's bad. You know what I mean? That's unprecedented, like, in America. I mean, I mean, I won't say it's unprecedented. Maybe that happened in the Nixon era, but somebody just lying so much they had to shut your speech off. Like, come on now. It ain't even about partisanship at that point. Greenwald and graduation of what out of the world of the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So the Trump campaign, man, they on the legal front, they really going to war about this election, whatever. But it seemed like they not really standing on a good solid foundation with these arguments or whatever. So they taking L's in court. For example, over in we'll start with Georgia. The state judge had actually dismissed a Trump campaign's lawsuit, basically saying that 53 absentee ballots had arrived too late to be counted, and it was without evidence. So that got dismissed. Over in Michigan, they rejected Republican call out for the absentee ballots to stop being counted. So that got dismissed. Over in Pennsylvania, there was a Republican request to actually halt the vote counting process. Now, initially, the Trump campaign had said that their observers were barred from monitoring the process. But in the courtroom, the lawyer ended up saying, the lawyer for the Trump campaign ended up saying, admitting that they did have people on the inside of the ballot center, so in Philly. So you had the judge there. This is a judge that was actually appointed by George W. Bush. So this is somebody with Republican ties who's then like, you know, I'm sorry, what's the problem? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, looking stupid as hell. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how these Trump campaign people is looking right now. And then over in Nevada, you had Trump campaign officials saying that they're going to request put in a suit to actually request that they stop the counting of improper ballots. But Nevada election officials are saying that there's no evidence of any improper vote ballots being counted. So, you know what I mean? That's just sitting on air. The only win that they did have so far is in Pennsylvania, where a judge did rule that they are that Trump campaigns. Trump campaigners are allowed to get closer to the ballot counting. So we'll see how this turns out. But yeah, it's just a lot of air in these arguments. And meanwhile, you got Trump campaign's legal advisor, Harleen Dillon, who was on Fox Business, actually saying, you know, basically admitting that she's like calling for you know, they're hoping that the newly elected Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett will like basically help them like win the election, and you know, if it goes to the higher courts or whatever. And you got freaking Senator Lindsey Graham, who was on Sean Hannity's show, talking about how like the elections in Philly are crooked as a snake and all of that. But Sean Hannity was asking him, you know, if there's proof of like the elections, the law not being followed and the observers not being allowed to observe the counting, should basically the Republican legislators like basically just vote for the the Republican electors anyway. Basically, so because we have a running electoral college system in this country, you have places like Pennsylvania, like Wisconsin, like a few battleground states, Georgia and all of that, whatever, that have Republican legislatures that could still vote to actually have Republican electorates against the will of the voters in that state. So, you know, be prepared. A lot of y'all celebrating and all of that, whatever, you know, because it looked like Biden gonna win, but you know what I mean? There's still enough room for Trump and his people to do real funny business. So everybody stay woke and stay on point. You know what I mean? Green War and graduation. Report out of the world of the Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So there are growing concerns that were already there throughout the country or whatever about there being violence from Trump supporters that is set to like disrupt the election process. You got Donald Dickhead Trump Jr.'s out here calling for total war over the election process. So you know what I mean, they themselves, the leaders at the top, they're like trying to stoke that fire and use that rhetoric to rile their supporters up. But you know, it's you know, has serious implications because over in Pennsylvania, you actually had 2 men that were arrested after officers had received the tip that 2 men coming up from Virginia with AR-15s and a Hummer were coming up to like, you know, attack the Philadelphia Convention Center where they're still actually counting votes. And when they pulled over this Hummer just like up the street from the convention center, you know, the Hummer had like all these like QAnon stickers and stuff over that, stuff like that around there or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying, it looked like it was sus. You have election officials all throughout the country that are like worried about their security because, like, for example, there's a Joe Gloria who's actually a registrar in the Nevada election process that was basically saying like, you know, yeah, like him and his wife and his family, they're fearing for their lives. They, you know, the people receiving threats and all of that, but you know, they're ramping up security measures in these different situations to actually address the issue. Their Secret Service actually being sent over for reinforcement to help Joe Biden out in Wilmington, Delaware, who could even deliver victory speeches earlier today, but we'll see how that all turns out. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/shop too to support the movement. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself some paraphernalia, some gear, and you can find the link in Black Fox News Instagram bio or in any of our news captions in the YouTube as well. So let's continue to support us. We continue to support y'all, give y'all that real. But yeah, shit is real out here, man. Green War and graduation. Stay safe. Report out in the world of the Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/LPAI. LPAI. It's actually an acronym for Let's Post About It. It's our social media platform that allows you to actually have very academic or laid back discourse on social media, the same emojis and all of that you can use on these other platforms, except you can actually share code, you can upload your own videos, you can embed videos, and this is all in these discussion windows. And it allows us, you can upload files, it allows us to have discussion and share a lot of truth that you can't necessarily do on these other platforms. It can be unfiltered, unlike these other platforms, and it allows us to actually come together to actually address some things that need to be addressed so we can move forward from the same premise, you know what I mean, same truthful premise. So, you know what I mean, make sure you create a profile on that. It's incentives coming for people who do sign up, but definitely support us as we continue to support y'all. Now, over in Twitter land, Twitter actually permanently deleted Trump's former campaign manager's account, that being Steve Bannon. This is the dude that actually you know, headed Breitbart News, but he has this like little podcast where he was calling for the beheading of Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's like the top infectious disease person in the U.S., the head of the National Institute of Health and Human Services, and the beheading of like FBI Director Christopher Wray. This is Trump's own person, right? And he said this or whatever. He's like, I'd actually like to go back to the old days of Tudor England, where you put their heads on pikes and standing at corners of the front of the White House, and as a message to federal bureaucrats, you either get with the program or you're gone. Well, now you're gone, buddy. Green War and graduation. Put out of the world on the Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So, over in New York, 18 protesters were actually arrested during a nighttime protest against President Trump's attempt to steal the election, basically. Him falsely declaring victory and all of that shit, right? So 18 people were arrested. It's a lot of arrests. Meanwhile, over in Arizona, you actually had there was like outside of the Maricopa County Elections Department, you had like Trump supporters basically scuffling with Joe Biden supporters, and I would urge anybody that's black, don't get caught up in that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because these white people about to go crazy about this, especially these Trump supporters or whatever, and the Biden supporters, a lot of white Biden supporters, they don't have no choice but to put their dukes up or whatever. Don't get caught up in that dumb shit unless somebody hits you. If somebody hits you, you know what I'm saying, do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying, rip their head off if you must. But it ain't that deep. You know what I'm saying? Because you still got a lot of hell to pay coming to this America for this hundreds of years of racism. You know what I'm saying? So that karma is coming the America's way, regardless of who's in the presidency. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta issue that out. Bishop Grady, editor-in-chief. You know this shit, man. Green War and graduation. What out of the world of the Bishop Grady, that y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So over in Georgia, it's looking like we possibly might have two runoff Senate elections, where that'll actually determine who has the majority of the Senate. Now, you have Kelly Loeffler is already doing who's the Republican senator. This is the chick who actually is a WNBA owner, was supporting Operation Legend and against Black Lives Matter being put on the WNBA courts and all of that, whatever. So her team ended up protesting against it and all of that, whatever. Also, somebody with a charge against them for like selling off a bunch of stock after being notified about the coronavirus pandemic and what was going to happen before it happened. Now, nevertheless, Kelly Loeffler, she's actually going to do a runoff election with already said to do one with Reverend Raphael Warnock, a black man who actually is technically in the lead. He just doesn't have the 50% majority that is needed to prevent a runoff election. But they're going to do that in January. But now you have David Perdue, who initially was up 50%, but he fell just below 50%. It's looking like he might have to do a runoff election with John also. So we'll see how that turns out. Again, that could actually determine who has the majority of the Senate, Democrats or Republicans. Also, you have in Michigan, you have a John James, who actually is refusing to concede to Democratic Senator Gary Peters with their election. He's calling for an investigation into the vote, but he hasn't shown any evidence of there being anything improper going on with the vote. So, we'll see how that turns out. Green War and graduation. Report out of the world of the Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe delegation. This is an election observer. They actually observed the Tuesday's U.S. elections votes, whatever, and they even said that they found no evidence of there being any voter fraud, as like Trump had been talking about, whatever. Then you had the delegation leader, Michael George Link. This is a German lawmaker who actually even was quoted as saying these baseless allegations of systemic deficiencies, especially coming from Trump, the incumbent president, and on election night, these things are set to harm the public's trust in the democratic institutions. No shit, you know what I'm saying? Imagine if he was over here fucking living in it. But I share this with y'all so y'all know, because there's gonna be a lot of debate and a lot of argument with the Republican constituency and these Trump supporters out here, these zombies. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you want to have some base and reasoning or whatever, you could say there are objective opinions outside of Europe, outside of the U.S. or whatever, even over in Europe, that are also saying there's no evidence. What the fuck is y'all talking about? So we'll see how this turns out. The Green War and graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report, man. Make sure you check out blackfilesnews.com/music. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of music on there, definitely coming from me, editor-in-chief, where we actually have like a list of all of the broadcasts. You can get them in audio. We got the Black Files News Presents New World Order compilation album, you know what I mean? Underground Conscious Classic, you know what I mean? Shout out Future Law, shout out Ty Blizzy Black, Rondo, etc. You know what I'm saying? And then you also have my album on there, Free Me, and there's more music to come. You know what I'm saying? So maybe, you know, check out the whole website, but definitely check out the music portion. You know what I'm saying? Support the movement. You know what I mean? Buy one of the albums. You know what I mean? Or definitely like just stream the music. You feel me? Now also. Now moving on to the news though, 120,000 new coronavirus cases actually hit yesterday. That is a record throughout the pandemic for anywhere in the world, including the US obviously, whatever, but 120,000 cases in a day. That's actually more than either China or Japan had throughout the entire pandemic. That's more cases than they had throughout the whole freaking pandemic. China, like Trump be saying, whatever, more than they had throughout the whole pandemic where the shit started in Wuhan, China, right? Crazy. So you had 20 states seeing record high cases, with the highest ones coming in Colorado, Maine, Minnesota, and Iowa. In Jersey, you actually had the prison system actually released 2,000 prisoners trying to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the prisons. And yeah, shit is dire. I mean, in international news though, you also have like Britain on Thursday. They actually announced a 4-week shutdown of the country, and then in Greece they actually are gonna have a 3-week shutdown starting on Sunday. So I mean, people are taking measures all throughout the country to deal with this second wave of COVID-19 that's coming. We'll see. Green War on graduation though. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So it comes out that 751,000 people filed for unemployment last week. So far, 30 million Americans actually, over 30 million Americans have applied for unemployment aid since the pandemic began. You have an organization like Feeding America that actually says 50 million Americans can actually be food insecure by the end of the year, including 17 million children. So everybody stay woke and I mean stay safe, because shit might get ugly. Green War on graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So Washington Post is actually reporting that Westminster Management, which is partially owned by White House senior advisor Jared Kushner, who really is just Trump's son-in-law, who Trump had just put into power or whatever, you know, married to Ivanka Trump. He actually, this company actually has submitted hundreds of eviction filings, and that as soon as these state and federal moratoriums on evictions are lifted, they trying to get tenants out of there. Now, how heartless could that be? You know what I'm saying? You are sitting in a position of power, or you and partially owning a company. You sitting in a position of power, you know, with your millions and all of that, whatever, and you trying to get tenants the heck up out of here, knowing that over 30 million people in the U.S. have actually filed for unemployment aid. That people aren't actually getting money during the pandemic like you. That's, you know what I mean? It's something to think about though. Green War on graduation. The World of the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. So the news outlet Vice, they actually are reporting that Immigration and Customs Enforcement, this is the immigration police, you know, the strong arm of the Department of Homeland Security, that they are actually deporting more women who may have undergone invasive non-consensual gynecological procedures at the Irwin County Detention Center in Georgia. Now, if you've been following me, you know I've told y'all about this, where, you know, there are women over there getting forced sterilizations, you know what I'm saying, no longer able to have babies after having procedures done on them that they did not approve of by this doctor that's now like has been barred from having, like, you know, some of the women prisoners or whatever, immigration prisoners come to him or whatever. But you know, the ICE is also threatening to deport more women who have been taking a part of this or whatever, as they've already deported several others. One of the women that they are threatening to deport is Anna Kajigal. Adan. This is a 25-year-old Mexican woman who actually is right now fighting her deportation. And right now it's just a crazy situation, but in doing so, obviously that would hurt the case that's being brought up against the detention center and against the Department of Homeland Security, and could serve to like help vindicate the perpetrators. You know what I'm saying? This is sin of biblical proportions. You know what I mean? Let's keep it real. Forced sterilizations, really? Green War and graduation, y'all. Report out of the world of the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the Cameroonian American Council is partaking in what's called Freedom Friday. This is something that, according to the council's founder Sylvie Bello, Freedom Friday was actually inspired by these 40 Cameroonian immigrants that are actually locked up in the detention center in Pine Prairie, Louisiana, that have been on hunger strike, demanding their release. So the Freedom Friday has been like a weekly demonstration calling on the release of hundreds of Cameroonian immigrants who people feel like they should be released. The American Council, according to Sylvie Bello, as she told our main news source, Democracy Now!, they are calling on the release of hundreds of Cameroonian immigrants that are in this detention center, and that they're calling on the Congressional Black Caucus to make this happen, and that Cameroonians get granted TPS, or temporary protection status. So we'll see how this all turns out. Green War and graduation. Report out in the world of the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Hurricane Ada definitely did some damage. Reported 57 people so far died due to the hurricane that caused like massive flooding and heavy rains. Over in most of the deaths came from Guatemala, according to the Associated Press. 42 people died, all coming from mudslides. Then also in Honduras. You have an Atlantic coast of Honduras, especially in San Pedro Sula. Hundreds of people had to evacuate the area. You actually have San Pedro Sula's International Airport. There's like footage out there showing how it's like completely flooded. And it said that 13 people actually died in San Pedro Sula. So, you know what I'm saying? Condolences to anybody who actually lost anyone out there, or anyone who's experiencing the effects of the hurricane in Central America. You know what I mean? Damn. Green War and graduation, y'all. Report out of the world of the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in the occupied West Bank, the disputed area between the, that Israel claims, but, Palestinians actually occupy. Palestinians claim that the Israelis are legally trying to occupy. The Israeli authorities have actually demolished a whole village, the Bedouin village of Kirbet Hamza on Tuesday. They demolished the whole village, leaving 71 people homeless, including 73 people homeless, including 41 minors. Now, somebody that actually lived there said that the Israeli came with tanks and jeeps and basically gave everybody 10 minutes to completely remove their things from their tents. And you know what I mean? And obviously 10 minutes is not enough. Like, these are where people live. And once the 10 minutes was up, they completely demolished everything that with people's belongings inside it and all of that. Now, there's a human rights group called Israeli human rights group called B'Tselem or B'Tselem, B''T''Selem. They actually said that 11 tents were destroyed. 18 tents were destroyed. That was home to 11 families, and so these were destroyed, including the toilets and the kitchens and their livestock area. Their water retention situation, and even 2 solar panels. So everything demolished. This is not the first time that this has happened. Apparently, according to the United Nations, this year 700 tents, living situations have actually been demolished, housing 870 Palestinians. Now, the Palestinian Prime Minister, Mohammed Shataya, actually said that they accused the Israeli authorities are doing this during the election when all eyes were on the U.S. American election. So to do it during that time was like shiesty in and of itself. But we'll see what comes of this. I mean, based on the track record, probably more demolitions, and something's got to give. Green War and Graduation. For the new world, the Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report, man. Make sure you check out my mixtape, man, @still_I grind on Instagram. You notice I ain't give you no mixtape website to check it out at. That's because it's actually the first of its kind, a whole mixtape, ongoing mixtape that's actually on Instagram. I mean, me rapping on other people's beats, but giving y'all culture, giving y'all real, giving y'all stories and all of that, whatever, and giving y'all shit that y'all can dance to. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you check that out. And you can actually see the clip. You find the link on the Instagram page that can actually take you to the YouTube video where you can watch the whole thing all the way through. It's 24-minute runtime, a straight heat. You know what I'm saying? But check out the Instagram page for the additional posts that I put on it, because it's going to be the gift that keeps on giving. You know what I mean? Appreciate the love and support. And you can get the gear at blackfilesnews.com/shop. All Still I Grind gear you can find there. You know what I mean? Now, over in Brazil, Flavio Bolsonaro. This is actually Jair Bolsonaro, the president's oldest son, actually has been charged with money laundering and embezzlement for his time as a Congress member before Jair Bolsonaro became president. But Flavio is now like a state senator. We'll see what this even turns into. But money laundering and embezzlement from your oldest son. The president probably knew about it, right? The Brazilian president, right? That's pretty reasonable to assume, right? Green War and Graduation, y'all. Hold on, the new world, the Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So, the U.S. State Department has actually informed Congress of its plans to sell 18 armed drones to the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. Now, this comes as like, the U.S. has recently eased restrictions on selling armed drones to allies. But earlier this year, the United Nations had warned that the world is going into a second drone age, as more countries are like acquiring drones and using them for targeted killings outside of war zones. So shit is gonna start looking like Star Wars soon, like these unmanned vehicles that are actually flying around shooting and killing shit. You know what I'm saying? And ain't even nothing that you can retaliate to, because you would be fighting somebody that's not even there. So it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? This shit is getting real. Green War and Graduation. Reporter of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. Make sure you check out blackfilesnews.com/opportunities, especially for you young business owners out there, or you OGs out there, corporation owners or whatever. Y'all want to link with crowds and audiences that are like conscious, that are actually going to continue to buy and invest in good product. I mean, definitely y'all want to get with our platform across all our social media platforms. We have audiences, thousands of people that are actually watching us that are into and looking for the next best thing. So get with us for the advertising deals. You know what I mean? We got them. We even can do them through the BFN reports that I'm delivering now. You know what I'm saying? So and that goes for anybody that has like gear or anything like that as well. So support us as we continue to support y'all. We're gonna keep this 100% independent. Now over into the news though. Farm workers actually these dairy farm workers in Washington State actually won a major victory with the Supreme Court ruling that they should be paid overtime if they work more than 40 hours a week. Now, for decades, farm workers have been exempt from state and federal overtime laws, but that may change. Green War and Graduation. Reporter of the New World, the Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. Lujain Al-Haflul. This is actually a Saudi Arabian activist that's actually been jailed since May of 2018. But basically, this woman was part of a bunch of women who actually led a movement to lift a ban against women drivers and over the whole male guardianship culture of the country. But that ban actually has been lifted or whatever. Like, women weren't allowed to drive. So it's crazy that ban haven't been lifted. Actually is still like people who actually brought that attention to it still in jail. So Shorty is actually in her 12th day of a hunger strike, and demanding her release, and calling attention for the Saudi Arabian crown prince to actually release her. We'll see how this turns out, y'all. Bring the war on graduation.